congratulations and thank you for your service, and thanks to your family for their services and sacrifices as well. As we discussed in our meeting, the United States is in a munitions crisis. We need more munitions of all kinds faster. Do you believe the Navy needs to increase the number of missiles and other kinds of munitions it buys in order to effectively deter and, if necessary, hopefully not, fight and win a war in the Pacific?
Yes, Senator. Wars are won with munitions.
Yeah, I certainly agree. To do that, would you say that we need to take an all-of-the-above approach of leveraging our organic industrial base as well as private industry to produce the munitions our warfighters need?
Yes, sir.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. What steps will you take, if confirmed, to CNO to ensure the Navy does, in fact, get those munitions that it needs?
Well, Senator, I think this is, first, thank you for our time together and some of the conversations we had on this topic. This is no question an all-hands approach. It's real easy, I think, to finger point in this world of constraint and oversubscription and underperformance. So I'd like to break down that and really get to the brass tacks and really get a clear mapping of each of the munition lines in my head and with my team to understand where the critical stoppage points are on the flow of these munitions, where the waste steps are, where the sole source vendors are that are behind, and actually approach this from just a common sense way of thinking about unleashing the log jam of places where we're turning these munitions at pace and meet our contractual deliveries on time. It will not do any good with the money that you would like to budget for me if I can't translate into the actual delivery. So I need to work with the partners, make sure the Navy's clean on the way we do qualification and validation and certification steps, and I'm doing my role along with the industrial base to deliver these critical munitions, sir.
Thank you. We've heard a lot of talk this morning about shipbuilding. You've spoken extensively already about the need to increase the readiness of our naval fleet. Of course, readiness depends on having ships that are prepared to be at sea, and shipbuilding is only as good as our maintenance plan is for those ships once they're at sea. What can we do to address the maintenance backlog that the Navy faces today and get those ships out of dry dock and back into sea faster?
Well, Senator, that's a massive venture that I want to spend, if confirmed, my heart and soul in to get turned around. But there are some things I can give you that all shipyards need to adhere to, and that's giving the shipyard a clear demand signal for when the unit is coming in for the maintenance period. So that's a maintenance plan, and that planning needs to be stood off with sufficient time that the yard knows it's coming, has the funding and the workforce ready with a clear signal and a stable workforce. Long lead time material. We want the actual parts in the hand of the worker when it's ready to be assembled. And so the technical work documentation is part of that as well. And so the planning time horizon, the location of where the actual maintenance is going to take place, the readiness to start day one, solid project management, and workforce development and skills are all part of all solutions and to your questions.
Okay, thank you. Final question. I think China poses the most severe long-term threat to our nation, and that is a primarily maritime domain, not exclusively, but primarily. At the same time, the Navy has to be ready and postured to face threats around the world. The Navy was part of the outstanding Operation Midnight Hammer that devastated Iran's nuclear programs, also led the way in the fight against the Houthi rebels in Yemen earlier this year. What do you see as the biggest challenges the Navy faces to being prepared, not just to deter the China threat, but also to ensure American leadership around the world on the seas?
Well, Senator, I think overall the biggest challenge is a capacity problem. And so that makes us have to think. So when you don't have enough stuff, you really got to put your brain to your schemes of maneuver, your ability to counter targeting, counter ISR, to actually have synchronization. There's an old saying that precision beats power and timing beats speed every time. So we have to bring those types of thinking in. But at the end of the day, mass will matter. It will. And so that's why I need the munitions, I need the ships, and I need to posture them correctly with great intelligence sources to know when and where to do that best. And I do want to thank you for calling out the Navy's role in the Midnight Hammer. I know our Air Force partners get a lot of the credit, but there were a lot of TLAMs that were shot by the submarine force in that as well. So I appreciate that, sir.
Yep, they all did a great job. Thank you.
Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations